The Falcons have finally done something in free agency. They have signed not one, not two, but 3 players in NFL free agency. The latest one being Leonard Floyd. After he was released earlier today by the 49ers, he quickly finds a new job in his home state of Georgia, signing a 1-year deal worth $10 million. Now, the Falcons also signed Mike Hughes to a 3-year, $18 million contract, which we filmed a whole video about that Mike Hughes signing, and then the Leonard Floyd news came out. So what we're doing right now is a little bit of heart surgery, and we are combining the two right now. So that's what I'm saying. So we're combining the 2 videos. So you'll hear me talk more about Hughes in the back half of today's video. But let's talk a little bit about Floyd, because we've been pounding the table for Terry Fontenot to go out and sign an edge rusher. And he signs one who's got a really good career and history, a bit up and down, and I don't think this is a signing that's going to revolutionize the Falcons pass rush, but it's a start. 8.5 sacks last year. He's 32 years old. He's always been a bit of a funky size player because he's really tall and lean, 6'3", 240 pounds. He's going to be an outside linebacker for this team, but he's been traveling around the league. He's gone from Chicago to LA to Buffalo to the Rams to San Francisco. He's played for a lot of teams. He also overlapped with Raheem Morris in LA when they won the 2021 Super Bowl. So surface level, I like this signing. You needed a pass rusher. You got a pass rusher. You didn't overspend a crazy amount. It's a 1-year deal worth up to $10 million. If you don't like this signing, you could probably trace it back to 32 years old, semi-inconsistent in his career when it comes to just pure sacks, kind of a roller coaster. But I think the bigger takeaway would be signing Leonard Floyd means probably not trading for Trey Hendrickson. I won't say that it's dead, but the chances of that happening just took a big hit. So that's the catch with the Leonard Floyd signing. But if the Falcons were never really going to be in pursuit of Hendrickson, or were never going to give up what the Bengals wanted for him, they had to sign someone. I know they let a lot of names go by in the first day of free agency. This is going to sound crazy coming from me, and I think I say this again later in the video. But again, this is a video where we filmed 2 parts at separate times and are just kind of stitching them together. I don't mind Atlanta passing on some of the massive overpaid contracts from day one, because there is no long-term solution at the edge rusher position in free agency this year. So make some calculated moves and attack the draft to try and find your long-term pass rusher. But Floyd has been, consistently up and down. 9.5 sacks, 9 sacks, pops up to 10.5, falls down to 8.5. It's not very dramatic. He has been in the same range of 9 to 10 sacks for 3 straight years. Then last year with the Niners, slight decrease in 2 sacks, going from, I think it was Buffalo in 2023 to San Francisco in 2024. But I'm still going to be on board with the signing. You didn't give him a massive contract. It's a 1-year deal. And we're talking about a team that no one even sniffed 8.5 sacks last year. Is he going to put up 10-plus sacks this year for the Falcons? Probably not. Is he an improvement from what you had? 100%. Did you get better with this signing? I would say yes. Did you get better at an extremely expensive cost? No. So I'm a fan of this signing. I like it. The moment I saw Floyd was released, wheels started turning in my head that they're making room for Joey Bosa to join Nick Bosa. And I wonder if the Falcons could re-sign a former Georgia Bulldog, because they don't like drafting them, but they don't mind signing them in free agency for some reason. Make sure to subscribe, though, because when news breaks like this, we're the first ones to get you a video. So what's going to happen next is I'm going to throw it back to me from 30 minutes ago, pre-Leonard Floyd signing, just reacting to the Mike Hughes signing. So let's throw it back to old me. The Falcons have made their second free agent signing. It's a re-signing. Cornerback Mike Hughes on a 3-year, $18 million contract. So I want to break down this re-signing, what it means for the present, and also a little bit of the future, of course, a 3-year deal, along with, I think there is some ramifications that come out of this when it comes to Atlanta's draft strategy. But let's start by talking about just Hughes as a player. Is this good or bad re-signing. I'm fine with it. I felt like Hughes last year did not bring any big impact plays, no interceptions, no moments where you're like, oh, I remember this play from Mike Hughes, but I felt like he did a good job of holding down the fort opposite of A.J. Terrell. Played better to begin the year than the way he ended the season, but adding, hopefully a better defensive coordinator with Jeff Ulbrich can bring some better play out of Hughes. So surface level, I'm okay with this re-signing. Going into free agency, I remember talking about between D. Alford and Hughes both hitting the market, who's more likely to come back, and I said Mike Hughes, and sure enough, day 2 of free agency, Atlanta makes their second acquisition, this one more of a reacquisition after signing Divine Diablo earlier today from the Las Vegas Raiders. From a number standpoint, I don't want anyone to get too attached to the $18 million right here. Don't be like sticker price shocked, whatever the phrase is. It's $9 million. This, in my eyes, may as well just be a 1-year, $9 million contract. I don't think there'll be much holding Atlanta to the second year of this contract. So with that in mind, while it looks like they've signed someone for the future at 3 years, once I saw the guaranteed money, I started to kind of backpedal my head a little bit that Mike Hughes signing a 3-year deal, no way Atlanta goes corner in round 1 anymore. They've got Terrell and Hughes locked up for years to come. $9.6 million guaranteed tells me that this is a 1-year, $9 million contract, and if he plays well, there is more money waiting for him in the future. So initial thought was this definitely signals Atlanta's going to go edge 100% with all this guaranteed money, with all this money, $18 million. Guaranteed money, 9.6. I still think it probably is unlikely the Falcons go cornerback in round 1. Will Johnson would be the only guy I think worth taking at 15, but there are some growing concerns, which we can talk about later. Today's show was made possible thanks to our friends over at Factor. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes so you can fuel up right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So if you got a busy life going on right now, which I think we all do, Factor's a great way to save some time while not making a big sacrifice in what you eat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50off and use code FalconsChat50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. That's code FalconsChat50off at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Shout out to Factor for supporting us here at Chat Sports. Go support them as well. Now let's talk more about free agency. But Hughes, as a player, as a whole, first-round draft pick for the Vikings, goes to the Chiefs, goes to the Lions, and he has found a little bit of a home in Atlanta, still just not having that big impact playability to his game. We're looking at 3 straight seasons with no interceptions, but I think for what you're paying, you're getting good value for. You get what you pay for. You're paying for a CB2. You are going to get a quality CB2 who last year gave up 358 yards in coverage, 2 touchdowns. So was he the worst corner in the NFL? Of course not. Was he, an incredible steal of a value? Not really, but by and large, I'm okay with this when it comes to what you're paying for what you're going to get out of Hughes. Now, let me know what you think of the re-signing. If you had to give it a letter grade, what would it be? A, B? Actually, scratch letter grade. I feel like this is not a seismic move for a letter grade. Just flat out yes or no. Do you like the re-signing? Me, sure. Why not? Right? I wouldn't say I'm completely indifferent on it. It's kind of like when you get those really annoying surveys with like 5 different options of like very likely, somewhat likely, kind of likely. I'm not in the middle. I'm one button towards the very likely positive side of I'm willing to see the upside here of hey, if he continues to play well, CB2 getting $6 million a year, that's great signing. If it doesn't go super well, it's a 1 year, call it $10 million contract, round up a little bit, and there's worse deals in the NFL. Now, make sure to subscribe, by the way, because as news comes out during NFL free agency, no one's going to get you a video quicker than we are here. We're actually filming this during our live coverage of NFL free agency. So shout out to all the hooligans who've been watching with us on Falcons Today. Big shout out to Dave Joseph and Mr. Haha and Overlord, just going above and beyond for their support of the channel. If you know, you know. Now, switching gears just ever so slightly when it comes to Hughes, as I was saying, I don't think this completely eliminates the chance Atlanta goes corner in round 1 because they're really only tied to Hughes for 1 year. But because they've made 2 signings so far, neither of which is an edge rusher, and they've signed a corner, this probably puts together a bit of a blueprint that we can predict for the Falcons, which is they don't plan to solve their edge rusher needs in free agency. They're going to let the draft do that for them. There will be some level of a free agent signing, 1 or 2 maybe smaller names, maybe a Judon re-signing or Azeez Ojulari, but I don't think that we're going to see a big contract given out in free agency, which, you know what, believe it or not, coming from me of all people, I can actually be okay with that because there just was not many good free agent edge rushers in this class. So I'd rather them make a smart move than just throw a ton of money at a problem, kind of like a government, and just hope that fixes it. No, be a little bit more calculated with it. So this is fine with me if they plan to go edge in the draft. Wouldn't rule out a Trey Hendrickson trade still, although they would have to make some money moves a little bit because with Diablo and Hughes signing, they have to be cap compliant by 4 p.m. Eastern time Wednesday, tomorrow. This is going to get them pretty close to barely being cap compliant. But Atlanta brings back one of their 2 free agent corners who was a starter last year. Don't expect Alford to return. Maybe one of King or Hamilton, but there will be more cornerback additions made because right now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 corners on the roster. Maybe they want to put Clark Phillips at that nickel position. I think he's probably best at the outside, although he's had some versatility, so the ball skills he has, I think, could serve to be valuable if he's hanging out in the middle of the field. But Hughes, welcome back to Atlanta. Like I said at the top of the video, 3 years, $18 million contract. And do you think the Falcons are going to get a deal done for the Bengals' star pass rusher? I say half yes, because they've just done nothing in free agency to address this position, and maybe that's because they were working on a trade. But with only 5 picks in the draft, it seems unlikely that they're going to pony up and give some valuable draft capital, more of that, but they don't really have away. I've also heard, and I'll talk more about this in another video, some slight chatter on a Tyler Algier trade. I'll say this much right now. I'd be surprised if anyone wanted a trade for Algier, not because he's bad, but because he's coming to the end of his rookie contract, and it's a great running back draft class. So why not just take a younger running back with 4 years on the deal instead of a, player coming to the end of that really cheap contract? So Algier trade could happen since Atlanta's desperate for draft capital, and they're probably ready to put a boatload of carries on Bijan's plate and maybe find a cheaper option in free agency at running back or in the draft again, but they can get a valuable pick for Algier. I don't think the Algier trade is too likely, but I'm not going to completely disregard it. So Mike Hughes, welcome back to Atlanta. 3 years, $18 million. I think this probably points the arrow in the direction of Atlanta's going to go edge for sure. We'll fix this really quickly, Reed, in round number 1, but I won't say it with absolute certainty since I learned my lesson last year when it comes to don't say blank as a Falcon in the draft. All right, I'll see everyone later.